What if the most powerful thing you could ever say was nothing at all? What if I told you that the people who win every argument, every confrontation, every difficult conversation are not the ones who speak the most words, but the ones who have mastered the art of responding with such deep clarity, such unshakable stillness, that the other person feels completely silenced, not by force, not by anger, but by pure, undeniable wisdom? What if you discovered that you have been fighting your battles the wrong way your entire life, raising your voice when you should have lowered it, reacting when you should have simply smiled? Right now, in the next few minutes, I'm going to share with you 7 smart responses. Responses so powerful, so deeply rooted in ancient wisdom and mental strength that once you learn them, no one will ever be able to shake your peace again. No toxic person, no difficult conversation, no moment of chaos. Stay with me, because what you are about to hear will not just change how you speak, it will completely transform how you think, feel, and carry yourself through this world. This is not just a speech, this is your awakening. What if the words you have been using your entire life have been quietly destroying your peace, your power, and your presence without you even realizing it? What if every time you reacted with anger, every time you argued back without thinking, every time you allowed someone else's chaos to enter your mind and disturb your stillness, you were not winning the conversation, you were losing yourself? I want you to sit with that thought for a moment, because what I am about to share with you is not a collection of clever tricks or manipulative tactics. This is something far deeper, far more ancient, far more powerful than anything the modern world has taught you about communication, conflict, and the art of holding your ground. There is a teaching rooted in the philosophy of mountain monasteries, in the discipline of those who dedicate their entire lives to mastering not the world around them, but the world within them, that says this: the one who masters himself masters everything. And it always begins with how you respond, not how you react, how you respond. These are two completely different things. And understanding the difference between them is the first step toward building the kind of mental strength that cannot be shaken by any person, any situation, or any storm life throws at you. Response number 1: the power of the deliberate pause. When someone comes at you with anger, with criticism, with words designed to break you, the first and most devastating response you can offer them is a pause. Not silence out of fear, not silence out of confusion, but a deliberate, conscious, deeply intentional pause that communicates one thing without a single word: I am not controlled by your emotion. Think about this carefully. When someone tries to provoke you, when they raise their voice, when they insult you, when they challenge you, they are doing so with one hope. They hope you will react immediately. They hope your emotions will rise faster than your wisdom. They hope to see you lose your composure. Because a person who has lost their composure has already lost the conversation. But when you pause, when you breathe, when you take that one single moment to return to your center, you do something extraordinary. You remove their power over you. You show them, without explaining yourself, that you are operating from a completely different level of consciousness than they are. The pause is not passive. The pause is the most active, most intentional, most powerful thing you can do in any high-pressure moment. It is the space between stimulus and response, and in that space lives your freedom, your dignity, and your strength. Ancient masters understood this, warriors understood this. The greatest minds throughout human history understood that the ability to pause before responding was not a sign of hesitation. It was a sign of profound self-mastery. So the next time someone tries to pull you into their storm, pause, breathe, let the storm pass around you, and then from your place of complete stillness, choose your words like a warrior chooses his steps, carefully, deliberately, and with absolute purpose. Response number 2: I understand your perspective. Now I want you to understand something shocking about these 4 words. When spoken from a place of genuine inner calm, not sarcasm, not dismissiveness, but true, grounded stillness, these words carry the power to completely disarm even the most aggressive, most emotionally charged person in front of you. Here is why, when a person is angry, when a person is in conflict, the deepest thing they are craving, sometimes without even knowing it themselves, is to be heard. They want to feel that their position, their emotion, their point of view has been acknowledged. They are fighting often, not because they are right, but because they feel invisible. And when you look at them calmly, directly, without any trace of defensiveness or aggression, and you say, I understand your perspective, you do something they never expected. You give them what they were fighting for. You acknowledge their existence. You remove the fire from the room. But here is what is truly remarkable about this response. It does not mean you agree with them. It does not mean you surrender your own position. It does not mean you are weak. It simply means that you are wise enough to understand that 2 people can see the same situation differently, and that acknowledging that difference is not a defeat. It is an act of extraordinary mental strength. The warrior who can acknowledge the perspective of his opponent without losing his own ground is infinitely more powerful than the one who simply refuses to listen. Because wisdom is not stubborn. Wisdom is flexible like water. It flows around every obstacle without losing its nature. Use these words. Practice them. Feel them in your body before you speak them. And watch how the entire energy of a difficult conversation shifts the moment you offer genuine understanding instead of defensive reaction. Response number 3. The art of asking the right question. There is a form of intelligence so rare, so deeply cultivated through practice and self-awareness that most people never develop it in their entire lifetime. It is the intelligence of asking the right question at the right moment and then having the patience and discipline to truly listen to the answer. When someone challenges you, when someone criticizes you, when someone makes a statement designed to diminish you, instead of defending yourself, instead of explaining yourself, instead of arguing back, ask them a question. Ask them, what makes you feel that way? Ask them, can you help me understand what you mean by that? Ask them, what would you need in order to feel differently about this situation? Watch what happens. Watch how the aggression deflates. Watch how the person who came at you full of fire suddenly has to slow down, has to think, has to move from the emotional part of their brain into the reasoning part of their brain. And in that shift, the entire dynamic of the conversation changes. You are no longer on the defensive. You are leading. You are guiding the conversation from a place of quiet, confident intelligence. And the other person, whether they realize it consciously or not, will begin to feel something change. The hostility softens, the energy shifts, and suddenly, instead of a confrontation, you have a conversation. This is the power of the right question. This is what it means to lead with wisdom rather than react with emotion. The one who asks the questions controls the direction of the conversation, not through force, not through manipulation, but through the quiet, unshakable confidence of someone who knows exactly where they stand and exactly where they want the conversation to go. Response number 4. I will think about what you said. These 7 words are among the most underestimated, most profoundly powerful responses you can ever offer another human being. And the reason they are so powerful is because they are completely, cockingly honest. And honesty, true honesty spoken from a place of inner stillness, carries a weight that no argument can match. When you tell someone, I will think about what you said, you are communicating several things simultaneously. You are communicating that you have heard them. You are communicating that you respect their words enough to give them genuine consideration. You are communicating that you are not the kind of person who makes impulsive decisions driven by emotion or pressure. And you are communicating, perhaps most importantly of all, that you are completely secure in yourself. Because the person who is insecure, the person who is driven by ego, the person who needs to win every argument in the moment, that person cannot say these words. They feel too much like surrender. They feel too much like weakness. But the truly strong person, the person who has done the inner work, who has cultivated real mental clarity and real self-awareness, that person understands that thinking before deciding is not weakness. It is the highest form of strength. There is a teaching that speaks of the difference between the river and the rock. The rock resists everything. It pushes against the current, against the rain, against the wind, and eventually it is worn away. But the river flows. The river adapts. The river considers the landscape before it and finds the most intelligent path forward. And the river, through its patient, flexible, deliberate movement, carves through mountains. Be the river. Think before you respond. And never, never be afraid to say, I will think about what you said. Response number 5. Choosing silence over explanation. This is perhaps the most difficult response to master and therefore the most powerful of all. Because everything in our human nature pushes us toward explanation. When we are misunderstood, we want to explain. When we are criticized, we want to defend. When we are judged, we want to justify. But here is the truth, that very few people ever truly internalize. You do not owe anyone an explanation for who you are. The master understands that silence, strategic, conscious, deliberate silence, is not the absence of a response. It is the fullest, most complete response you can ever give, because silence says, without words, something that words can never fully convey, I am so secure in myself, so rooted in my own truth, so unshaken by your opinion, that I do not need to defend myself to you. Think of the mountain. The mountain does not explain itself to the wind. The mountain does not justify its height to those who cannot climb it. The mountain simply stands, still, silent, unmovable, and its stillness itself is its power. When you choose silence in a moment where everyone expects you to react, when you simply look at someone calmly, hold your ground, and refuse to be pulled into the chaos they are trying to create, you demonstrate a level of self-mastery that is truly rare in this world. And people feel it, even if they don't understand it consciously. They feel the weight of your stillness, they feel the strength in your silence, and they know on some deep instinctive level that they cannot reach you. Choose silence, not from fear, not from confusion, but from the deep, unshakable certainty that your peace is worth more than any argument you could ever win. Response number 6. Thank you for telling me this. I know what you are thinking. You are thinking, how can I possibly thank someone who just criticized me, insulted me, or challenged me? And I understand that reaction completely, because it comes from the ego. It comes from the part of us that wants to protect itself, that wants to fight back, that experiences any form of criticism as an attack on our identity. But here is the transformation I am inviting you into. What if you stopped hearing criticism as an attack and started hearing it as information? What if every difficult conversation, every uncomfortable piece of feedback, every challenging interaction you face was not an obstacle in your path, but a mirror showing you something about yourself that you needed to see? The one who can say, thank you for telling me this, genuinely, without sarcasm, without bitterness, has achieved something extraordinary. They have separated their identity from their ego. They have understood that they are not their mistakes, not their failures, not the opinions others hold of them. They are something far deeper, far more permanent, far more unshakable than any of that. And from that place of deep inner security, gratitude becomes not just possible, it becomes natural, because you understand that every person who challenges you, every situation that tests you, every difficult moment you face is a teacher. And the wise student bows to the teacher, not in submission, but in genuine appreciation for the lesson. Thank you for telling me this. 6 words that transform conflict into clarity. 6 words that disarm hostility and replace it with something far more powerful, understanding. Response number 7. Let us find a way forward together. This is the response of the true leader. This is the response of the person who understands that the goal of any difficult conversation is never to win. It is to resolve. It is to create something better. It is to move forward. When you say, let us find a way forward together, you shift the entire framework of the conversation. You move from opposition to collaboration. You move from you versus me to us versus the problem. And in that shift, everything changes. The ego wants to win. The ego wants to be right. The ego wants to prove that the other person is wrong, foolish, or mistaken. But wisdom, true wisdom, understands that being right is worth nothing if it costs you your relationships, your peace, or your ability to move forward in life. The greatest challenges you will face in your relationships, in your work, in your family, in every area of your life will rarely be solved by someone winning and someone losing. They will be solved by 2 people or 10 people or 1,000 people deciding together that moving forward matters more than being right. And the person who initiates that shift, the person who lowers the sword first, who extends the hand first, who speaks the words, let us find a way forward together first, that person is not weak. That person is the most powerful person in the room, because it takes no strength at all to keep fighting. It takes extraordinary strength, the kind of strength that is born from deep inner work, from genuine self-awareness, from years of practicing stillness in the middle of chaos, to choose peace when war would be easier. What you have just received today is not a list of techniques. It is not a collection of clever phrases to memorize and repeat. What you have received today is an invitation, a deep, sincere, urgent invitation to look at yourself differently, to understand that every response you give to the world is a reflection of what is happening inside you, that your words carry the energy of your inner state, that when you are disturbed inside, your words will disturb. When you are still inside, your words will settle. When you are strong inside, your words will not need volume to carry power. They will carry power through their very stillness. The 7 responses we have explored today, the deliberate pause, the acknowledgement of perspective, the power of the right question, the willingness to think before deciding, the strength of silence, the grace of gratitude, and the wisdom of choosing progress over pride. These are not separate techniques. They are expressions of a single truth. And that truth is this: the most powerful transformation you will ever experience in your life will not come from changing the world around you. It will come from mastering the world within you. It will come from mastering the world within you. Your inner peace is not a luxury. It is your foundation. It is the ground from which every intelligent response, every wise decision, every act of true strength in your life must grow. Protect it, cultivate it, return to it every single day, no matter what the world throws at you. Because when you are rooted in stillness, nothing can truly shake you. And when nothing can shake you, you have already won every battle that matters.